Toastmasters Deepak, the Marina Iguana, Toastmaster Deepak.
Off the coast of South America lies a group of volcanic islands called the Galapagos. One of the islands in the Galapagos is Fernandina. It's a desolate, inhospitable place. However, one creature has colonized it perfectly, and that creature is the marine iguana. It is found nowhere else on this planet. Do you want to have a look at it? Yes. Now don't be scared, it's a vegetarian lizard. The ancestors of the marine iguana came from the iguanas of the Central American rainforest, and they look like this. Still today you can see these iguanas nibbling on leaves on banks of rivers. But the question arises, how come these iguanas are different from the other ones? How did they get to the island? Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, let me narrate to you the fascinating story of the marine iguana. Thousands of years ago, when the marine iguanas were feeding on leaves, due to high tides and flash floods, they were washed away into the ocean. A vast majority of them died, but a few survived, and due to favorable ocean currents, were drifted to the Galapagos Islands. There, once they reached it, they found that it was a volcanic island, and they thought that there was no vegetation. And as soon as I seen the map from, it's 1,000 kilometers apart from Americas, but still they made it. How come? Reptiles have a unique ability of surviving without food and water for 3 months. When they reached the Galapagos Islands, they had nothing to eat. They could eat the only kind of vegetation they could find, which is seaweed. But seaweed, 97% of the seaweed is found underwater, and iguanas can't swim. At most, they can float on water. So what did the iguanas do? The iguanas not only learned how to swim, they learned to hold their breath underwater for 45 minutes. Which is a fascinating feat in itself, because no lizard in the category of animal kingdom can swim and hold their breath for 45 minutes. This wasn't enough. The seaweeds contained a lot of salts in them. So when you had them, they couldn't digest the salts because they were iguanas, they were used to eating leaves from the forest. But how do you digest the excessive salts? They developed a special glands on their noses, from which they could sneeze the excess salt, like how the image is showing. They could sneeze out the excess salt just like our normal sneezing, and they went on to live with that capability. But marine iguanas were cold-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animals means their body temperature is dynamic. They keep fluctuating. So in order to maintain a normal body temperature, they need to come to the sunlight and go back to the water, just like what crocodiles do. But when marine iguanas came outside, they couldn't get enough heat. Why? Because in high school we've learned there is a certain color which absorbs most heat. And which color is that? Black, yes. So that's why marine iguanas turned black, to absorb more heat and survive in that terrain. Every 3 to 7 years in the Galapagos, there is a cyclone which occurs, which destroys the 90% of the marine iguana population. Even scientists couldn't figure out why. Recent results showed that during the cyclone, the brown and green algae which the marine iguanas feed on disappears, and they can no longer feed on it. 90% of it eventually die out of starvation. But they've also found that some iguanas have developed a special ability wherein after they dissolve all their salts, muscles and cartilages, they dissolve their own body skeleton, which is no other reptile which can do in the entire planet. Dissolving our body skeleton is me exactly shrinking down to half my size or even 3/4 of my size, which is a remarkable feat in itself. Due to these remarkable adaptive features, the marine iguanas not only survived the Galapagos Islands, but came to dominate it like no other species. As you can see from the picture, it was abundant. When the first sailors came to the island, it was abundant, and they could not see enough of it. In life, if we look at it, Our environment is paved with obstacles. We take our family life, take our career, we take our financials, we take our personal life. But we don't sit down. We have to get up. Just like the marine iguana, we have so many opportunities to strike back and get the best of it. So my dear audiences, my only final advice to you is get up and go conquer your problems. Thank you.